They come at night. The walls bulge inwards. The shapes of hands appear, reaching out from behind the plaster. Faces form, their mouths open in silent screams. I'm alone in the house when they appear. My wife has taken our 2 children to stay with her at her parents' place. She wants a divorce. She asked for this before the hideous visitations began. Our marriage was already at a breaking point when we moved in, but I hoped that the new house would have helped keep us together. It was a fixer-upper with huge potential. I remember one night how we pored over the blueprints. The children were asleep upstairs and we had polished off a bottle of wine. We laughed a lot as we playfully fought over which wall should be knocked in and color schemes. I am scared that this is going to be the last happy memory of my marriage. The arguments returned like drifting storms soon afterwards, and a few weeks later, I stood in the driveway, the gravel that I had delivered still piled up on either side, and watched as my wife drove away, her belongings packing the car, the children on their headphones glued to their devices. I went inside and opened up a bottle of whiskey. Sometime that night, I lost the plot. I remember taking a claw hammer to the wall. I wanted to hit out anything, and I struck again and again until I collapsed panting on the floor. I was lying there when I heard them for the first time. It sounded like something was scraping around on the other side of the wall, somehow inside the wall. I dragged myself to my feet and ran my hands over the wall, rested my head against it to try to get a better hear. There was something moving in there. More than one thing, I realized as I moved around the room and then the rest of the house. They were behind every wall I checked. For the first few nights, they were only noises tormenting me. I was too freaked out to sleep. In the day when they fell silent, I would doze off for a few hours into a fractured slumber and wake up with a jerk, sometimes calling out, always covered in sweat. I had not spoken to or seen anyone in weeks. I knew no one in this neighborhood, and my wife was blocking my calls, which I had to get drunk to work up the courage to make, and then more drunk to try to numb the hurt at feeling shut off. I stayed in the house and waited for them to come. First as the noises, moving, always moving, and then they began to appear. Their hands, their faces, distorting the walls as they pressed themselves against them from their lurking place in the cavities. Who were they, these monstrous creatures? What were they? In the rare moments of calmness, where I could think straight, I wondered if they were figments of my imagination. I had been under unrelenting pressure for a long time, and I knew even the strongest man could break. These moments of calmness were only very brief. As darkness fell, I would pace around the house watching as they began to appear. My heart was racing, my skin burnt as if I had a fever, and as with a fever, I could not stop shaking, could not escape the coldness which gripped my entire body. I was possessed with fear. This morning I made a decision, and I know if I don't act on it, I won't have the strength to try again. I will be trapped forever with these creatures. I am going to phone the realtor and tell them to put the house on the market. Then, I'm going to walk out to my car and drive away. I have nowhere to go, no one to go to, but I will have escaped. And as for the new owner, you know what they say. Caveat emptor, buyer beware.